attend. And this is a little different than like how I do my other trainings. So my other trainings, I normally say, wait to unmute until I give you the thumbs up or ask for something in the chat. I want this to be a little bit more interactive. So it's okay if you unmute yourself. Just try and avoid like talking over people and allowing people to have that space to talk. So with that said, today's topic is all about reflecting on personal growth and practicing gratitude. So we're going to be using the chat feature a lot too. Who here knows what it means to reflect on personal growth? Put your hand up if you do. Okay, it's okay. I'd rather you guys be honest than not. Who is familiar with how to practice gratitude? Do you know what that looks like? Okay, that's okay. That's why you guys are here, and you should be proud of yourselves for showing up. So it's good to just get a good grasp of where the group's at, because I really try and tailor it to everyone that's participating today. I don't really have like a specific script that I go off of, rather questions based on the crowd. So I guess where I want to start is, what's one personal accomplishment in the past year that you're proud of? Throw it in the chat, unmute yourselves, but I know each and every one of you has an answer. So even if you have to think for a little.
Having my baby.
Nice, congrats. I love that. Huge accomplishment. Is it your first?
Yeah, she is.
Aw, how old is she?
She's about to turn 2 in June.
What's her birthday?
June 6th.
Oh my God, I'm June 3rd. So we're both Gemini babies. Yeah, so awesome. Who else has something that they're proud of that they've accomplished? I know me personally is this business. You know, it came full circle for me. Honestly, this trip. So I used to live in San Diego. That's where I'm at now. I've been on a 2-week solo adventure. And when I was in San Diego last time, it was really hard for me. Like this looks great and it's been great, but when I lived here, it wasn't. I lived in a different part of San Diego, but I literally had no money. Like I was working all the time as a front desk supervisor at a hotel on the beach, and I was sharing a room with one of my friends. And for the longest time, we had to share a bed because, well, she was helping me out. So, my personal accomplishment is just getting my business to where it's at today. It didn't happen overnight. It happened with like a lot of hard work, a lot of setbacks. I think that we can all relate to that because that's just part of being human. But we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. So, looking back at the chat, Cindy, quitting your full time job and not having a constant paycheck. Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely an accomplishment, but also something where you're really taking a leap of faith to predict that your future is going to be different than the past, right? You're taking a leap of faith and hoping that something works out because you've seen others do it, you've seen others be successful, you see the passion behind others that are doing it, and you know, essentially you leaned into what that purpose was. So I'm really proud of you for that. Aisha, you're on track to getting your IATA card this year. Awesome. I love that, girlfriend. Halia, 2 things: the way your business has grown and being able to face your triggers head on and not let them control your day and your week. Absolutely. I love that. Getting a house. Nice job, George. So proud of you. I know that's been a very difficult journey. So nice job. I'm really happy to hear that. All right. Now, as far as what personal growth means, if you don't know what that means, it's okay, but I want you to give it a guess. And I'm going to slowly talk about things, but what what would you describe as personal growth? Maybe it's things that you do on a daily basis. Maybe it's the way you do things. Um,
Like for me, personal growth is um being able to control my anger in situations where I would explode, and being able to take a minute, assess the situation, then react accordingly.
yeah, absolutely, Randy. That goes like across the board. What people don't realize is how important it is to practice personal growth, because you're the only one that's in charge of your life, right? No one else is in charge of your life but you. And I think sometimes based on like how we grow up and the things that we learn subconsciously, it kind of takes over, right? I know for me, growing up, I felt like I was walking on eggshells with my dad. And that led towards me being a perfectionist. That led towards all these triggers that I didn't realize, kind of back to Halia, like, you know, you saying that you're able to face them head on. That's exactly it. How can you face them head on though if you don't know what they are? Right. So for those that don't know what their triggers are, I'm going to break down the word trigger really quick. Essentially, it's basically if someone pushes the wrong button and you snap, right? Or maybe you don't have an outburst, but like mentally you just fucking spiral, right? That's what a trigger is. And I challenge you to just write that down, right? It's not to put all the pieces together right now. It's not to know the pattern yourself. Like personally, I struggle with identifying patterns. That's why I have a therapist, right? Is to help me identify the patterns that are over and over and over again that I'm repeating, right? I know I've been single for 4.5 years and I'm like, obviously I know I have a lot going for me, but it's like, why? I started seeing a new therapist a few weeks ago. I'm like, I really want to dive into like, why am I attracting the wrong people? Because I feel like I have so much to offer. But that's exactly it, you guys. Sometimes we try to be someone that we're not, and we don't even realize it. And it's all in the words. It's the way that we talk to ourselves that projects in conversations and the way that we talk to others. And if you don't know what your triggers are, you can't work on them. Like it is a huge part of personal growth to be able to identify those. And you're not going to be able to identify them overnight. There's no way to truly identify a trigger other than you. Like you have to know what pushes that button where you went from feeling great to just feeling really crappy. Like a trigger is any negative emotion that you feel. If you don't identify it right away, then it gets harder and harder to identify as time goes on, because then you have to work backwards. Like, all right, when was the first time that I started feeling shitty again? And today, for example, I've been gone for almost 16 days. Do I want to go home? Not really. If I'm being honest, I love my family and friends in Chicago, but it's gloomy there. San Diego is where I really found myself. That's where my personal growth journey really started, was about 1.5 years ago. And I know that it's essential for me to go home because I know that's where I really get to go to work, like mentally, physically, emotionally. That's like hibernation time where it's like, I got to just focus on Nikki, right? And I do that when I'm on the road. Don't get me wrong. I do focus on myself. I have a journal. I write down every single night, even if it's like one word. Like last night, mentally, I broke off someone that had been in my life for 2 years that like is from here. That was a really hard thing to do, but I wrote it down. I said, chapter, the person's name, San Diego equals closed. Like, put it in writing, put it into existence, and then you're done with it. Right. So to me, that's essentially what personal growth is. Right. It's kind of a little bit of everything. But I'm going to start reading from the chat, and I'd love to start hearing either your feedback or like what you learned from what I said. If you could take away one thing, what is it? George, improving on yourself from one situation to another. Absolutely. Trusting yourself to make decisions. to choose me for the first time in your life, absolutely, Cindy. Move back here. I know, girl. I love San Diego. I wish I could, but I'll probably move back out west in like the next year or two. I think it might be Arizona. But what did you guys learn? Like from what I just said in my testimony, what is one thing that you know will resonate with you? You can unmute
You have
yourself.
to figure out what your triggers are first
Yeah.
before you can control them.
Absolutely.
I figured out it's okay to say no,
Mhm.
which
Cute.
I used to never do.
And it doesn't become, it's not that it goes away overnight, right, Cindy? Like, it's not like
Right.
one day you're just like, nope, and you feel better about it. That's a people pleasing tendency, and that relates to unresolved trauma. But the more you can identify situations where you're saying yes to please others versus yourself, you know that you've grown. It's not supposed to be like, don't get down on yourself if there's times you say yes and you're like, crap, I should have said no. No, if you can identify that you're getting better at saying no and you're better than you were the day before, then that's a win. So you need to acknowledge it.
Right.
What else?
You've helped me with that.
Well, I love that, Cindy. I'm so glad I have.
You have.
All right. So, Halia, you definitely need to start journaling again. It's so helpful in figuring out how to really grow. It is. It's really easy to get sidetracked and caught up in everything else going on, especially with a business, you know, whether you're team building. I know Halia is a hybrid, kind of like myself. You know, she just became gold. So yay, congratulations. But that journey is not easy. And it's easy to get so narrow focused and hyper focused on one thing that you want. And then you start letting yourself go without realizing it because you want something so bad. So it's really just being mindful and not saying that you need a ton of time to yourself, but allowing yourself, even if it's 15 minutes a day, you guys, when you wake up or when you go to bed or in the middle of the day, take that break. You owe it to yourself to jot something down, right? You really need to start journaling, as I mentioned. Yes, stop self-doubting yourself when things aren't together right away. Absolutely, Destiny. I do that still. Trust me. It's easy to self-doubt. What do you do after you identify a trigger? Avoid it? Absolutely not, George. You actually have to dig deeper, right? So let me think. Can you give me an example of a trigger that you can think of off the top of your head?
Yeah, like not getting an answer you want, stuff like even in business or not in business, just not getting the answers you need or that you want.
So that's a really good one because we all struggle with that, right? When it comes to our travel agency business specifically, do we get no's? Do we get ghosted? Do things change all the time? And guess what? You can't take that personally, but I guess it's easier said than done. So it's like, how do you get there, right? Well, first, typically when you get very heated or upset about something that quick in relation to business, there's something more going on. It's not the no itself from business. It's all the times you were told no in your past by others that's triggering that reaction. Think of the last time someone told you no, or you couldn't have something because whether it's financial means, whether it's, I don't know, personal relationships, it doesn't feel good to be told no. And it's okay to be told no because you need to tell others no and you need to tell yourself no from time to time. So instead of avoiding it, I'd actually lean into it. Even if in that moment you can't write a ton of words down because you're fucking pissed and heated and you want to throw something or start screaming, acknowledge how you feel. That's actually the first thing you need to do, is feel your emotions instead of avoiding them. Let it out, cry, but you have to do it yourself. Like, I know in the past I used to have triggers and I used to call my mom and just like have a fucking meltdown. But guess what? Mom can't always be the savior. She can't always be the hero. Other people in your life, whether it's a partner or a significant other or a friend, not everyone's always going to be there. And where personal growth really happens is when you're forced to figure it out yourself. That's how you overcome it sooner. And is it uncomfortable in the moment to feel that way? Absolutely. Like, when I'm triggered from time to time or upset, what do? I just get super high. If I'm being honest, right? Because that's a mask. That's me avoiding the emotion versus feeling it. Like last night when all that stuff was happening, did I smoke earlier in the day? Yeah. But at night, instead of going on the balcony and smoking and falling asleep and forgetting about it, I sat down in my bed and I just allowed myself to cry, and I wrote it down, and then allowed myself to listen to like some calming music. And then eventually I fell asleep. But it's not easy. Finding your triggers and identifying them can be triggering itself. So hopefully that little excerpt helped you and others. Yes, that's the time we fight harder. Absolutely. All right, so next question, you guys. I want you guys to share a recent challenge or a setback that you've faced and how you overcame it. It could be a very little challenge, a very little setback, but what happened and how did you overcome it? I'm going to give you guys some space to think.
So I'm going to relate it to the business. I started team building and I put all my focus towards that. And I had a team of 5. So super excited, getting super close to bronze. And then I noticed like, hey, I'm not getting paid enough with bronze. I need to still be booking travel. So then I shifted my focus to travel. Well, then of course, lo and behold, I had 2, 3 agents drop off. So then I'm like, crap, well, now I have to start all over. So it's just that starting all over and learning how to manage and how to balance.
Yeah. Absolutely. And what can you share how you're finding that balance and working towards that balance?
So I'm doing more scheduling. So I've had like more scheduled stuff. So before it was kind of like do whatever you can whenever you had time. But now it's being intentional with my time and having schedules put in place and having checklists, knowing I have to do this many tasks for the business side, this much. And then tomorrow or later today, I'll do it for the travel side. So just having those tasks set up.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the things that you guys can do is called time blocking. Like, you block out certain parts of your schedule. There's apps that actually do it for you, because I suck at that too. But there's multiple, like, I would color code it, right? I would color code what is an absolute must that has to get done today, whether it's like a consultation call, a proposal call, whether it's like a doctor's appointment, something in your personal life going on. And then there's gaps in between that, right? Even if it's 15 minutes, there's gaps, right? No one can say that, oh, I can't step away. No, you can. You're choosing not to, and you're choosing to make excuses as to why you can't. So time blocking is huge, you guys. Like, that's something I need to get better at, because I focus a lot on travel sales, and I could do a better job at focusing on team building. Don't get me wrong. Do I have my agents? Yeah, I have my agents, but I believe in the opportunity so much and how it's blessed me. And I want to share it with others. And I want to show them how I've done it, like how I've gotten to where I'm at now. I would say for me personally, a setback. I fell from gold to silver to even today bronze. Like 2 of my accounts, I have 4 accounts that I'm building, which you can do, but don't do that until you're actually team building and later on in the process, and ask your mentor about it. But I updated my card. George, I know this has happened to you before, so you'll feel good hearing me say this, but 2 out of my 4 accounts canceled today because I thought it was updated and it wasn't, and the wrong card was on there, and I thought I had updated it. And now I went from $69.95 a month to having to reactivate and pay $89.95 a month for 2 of those. So that's a setback, right? That's like 40 extra some bucks that could have gone elsewhere, but it is what it is, right? If I've structured my team a certain way and I want to build it a certain way, that is intentionally what I signed myself up for. But my comeback is I charged someone $150 to change their flight, $50 to American, $100 for myself. And I'm waiting on a thumbs up for a corporate trip that I'm working on where instant commissions would be $1,300 today. So that's gonna cover that cost. But you guys can't get so stuck in this victim mentality of like, poor me, poor me, poor me. This happened to me. Shit happens to everyone, but it's like the lens at which you look at it through, right? Acknowledge it. Does it suck? Yes. I'm like, I fucking changed that thing, last week. Why didn't they pull it out then? But the fact of the matter is, it's done, right? So acknowledge it, feel crappy for a second. I call it my 5-minute pity party, and then go do something about it instead of complaining. So Cheryl, you were up 11 agents and now you have 5. Really looking to move forward. Yeah, absolutely. Lisa, you were in the same boat, had 4 prospects and lost 3. You guys, that's part of the business, but the way that you guys have to look at team building is that people were going to fall off anyways, and it has nothing to do with you. Like, you can't take it personally. I know some of my agents fall off from time to time because they have their own personal shit going on, and hey, I get it. I've been there, right? But I'm not going to sit here and force someone to be in something that they don't believe in or that they can't do to their fullest right now, because it's not really fair, right? That's me being selfish. And I preach like just allowing people to be themselves and being selfish for yourself sometimes. Like, you have to put yourself first. So I can't be mad at that. But a little expert for those who are team building, my biggest thing to you is, what are you doing to retain them, right? If you don't have a Facebook group, a personal Facebook group, I challenge you to create your own and post updates and encourage them to attend trainings. I know that I used to be a little bit more active in like my Dauntless Tribe group, but the last couple of weeks, like, I've been traveling. I was in a car accident. I had to put $3,000 down for a new fucking car I wasn't planning on, like, just a lot back to back to back, but I had to be selfish. I had to take that time for myself. And did people fall off? Yeah, people fell off, but guess what? They were going to fall off anyways. Like, I can't be everyone's hero. And that's what you guys need to realize too. It's not a you problem, it's a them problem. And it's okay, right? Better quality people will come along, but you have to let go of that feeling and allow space for it. The longer you hold on to that crappy feeling, the less energy you have to give to those that are willing to receive it. What else, you guys? Any other setbacks that we want to talk about? Or are we good to move on to the next question? All right. How do you guys stay motivated and inspired to pursue your personal growth goals, even when you face obstacles? What keeps you motivated?
A new quote that I heard: what's meant for you won't pass you by.
My favorite line of all time. There's a few of them, you guys. That is literally like to a T what I say to myself all the time. What's meant for you won't pass you by. There's no growth in your comfort zone. I know in my love life, if I literally told this to the guy, I said, if it's not you, it's someone. Because it is, right? It's all about how we talk to ourselves. But everyone got into this like negative mindset mentality over the years where it's like we all talk crappy to ourselves, so we talk crappy to each other. And I'm trying to break that pattern, right? At least the people that I surround myself with. What other things motivate you? Like any mantras that you say to yourself, anything that you do specifically to push you. Thinking of being in the same place a year from now. Absolutely, Halia. What would you feel like if you guys played back a tape of yourself and your life actually a year from now? March 20th.
Sorry, I was starting to type, but I'm just gonna mute myself. This is Lay. Um, so I think, sorry, going back to that challenge, for the longest time, I feel like that imposter syndrome, and I feel like that's just so common, especially for us travel agents, business owners. A good a mantra that I have is just, I am worthy. And I don't know if you were on that like webinar, Nikki, but that
Which one?
Jamie Kern Lima.
No, I wasn't, but I like her a lot.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. And so I was on that. I listened to Mel Robbins, I listened to Tony Robbins, all of them. And then, yeah, that just really helps me, I guess. Like listening to the motivational speakers and listening to podcasts, that kind of helps me just be grounded again and realize that, you know what, girl, it's okay. But you are worthy. Know that. So yeah.
Yes, I love that. I think a lot of us, me personally, I struggle with not feeling like I'm enough. Who else
Mhm.
feels like that?
Oh yeah.
Do you ever have moments where you feel like you're not enough and you'll never be enough? So you keep going and going and going, and then you get burned out? Yeah. That's a great line, Lay, that you pointed out. I am worthy. You guys, even if you don't believe it in that moment, I'm still struggling to believe that I'm worthy. But the more I hear from others about how I've impacted their life in a positive way, the more I feel worthy. Like I'm doing something for someone else. And that makes me feel good, right? So sometimes we don't always believe things that we say, which is why we avoid them, but it's actually the only thing that's going to push you forward to get out of that mindset. I am worthy. I remember when I went to like a rehabilitation program a couple of years back, we used to have to sit around this table. There was like 22 people. We had to sit around this table every morning and every night, and we had to say an affirmation. That's what an affirmation is. I am, right? And there was this one where this girl, I remember her name's Sue, older than me, and she would always say every single day, I am worthy and deserving of love. And it's hard sometimes to believe that, I know. But each and every one of us, like we're here on this earth for a reason. We're not here for a long time, even though it feels like a long time sometimes. But you guys, the only way you're going to get yourself out of that mentality is to start telling yourself positive things that you don't believe right now. If you don't know what affirmations to tell yourself, that's okay. But like, that's not an excuse. Go on freaking Google, listen to a 20-minute guided meditation on YouTube of affirmations. You can even play things when you sleep that are just these affirmations or these different frequencies that play in the background that talk to your subconscious, which is really essentially what needs to happen, because it's your subconscious that you need to reprogram. My biggest struggle that I'll tell my therapist, I feel like my subconscious and my conscious are always at war. It's like, I know what to do. I know what's the right thing, but mentally it's like, no, Nikki, no. So it's challenging that, you guys. And it's not easy. All right, so anything else that keeps you guys motivated? My biggest thing is podcasts, like you too, Lay. I listened to one this morning because I'm like, why am I feeling like I'm not adding much value, even though I'm doing all these things? And it's because my podcast that I used to listen to, he hasn't been doing it this year. He's focused on something else. So I tapped into a different podcast this morning with Lewis Howes. He's an ex-NFL player and he interviews a lot of like well-known mindset mentors and celebrities, and I really like his episodes, so definitely check it out. His podcast, I think, is called The School of Greatness. And even if you guys can't sit there and listen to it for an hour, that's okay. I think I listened to it for like 25 minutes and then I'm like, all right, I need to like listen to some music and crank something out because it's a lot of words, right? But break it up into sessions. Don't let that be an excuse. Oh, I don't listen to podcasts. I don't like podcasts. Okay, why? Got to start somewhere. Your family keeps you motivated and thinking about your future, and music, absolutely, Destiny. I love music too. All right, guys, so next question. What are some areas of personal growth that you're currently focusing on and why? Maybe you don't have anything that you thought about yet, and that's okay, but this is the space to do it and get ideas from others.
My constant focus is because dealing with kids is frustrating.
Yeah.
And I work in a school and I'm dealing with kids constantly. So my focus is when I get home, giving my personal kids the same grace that I'm providing to my students. So that's something that I struggle with constantly and what I'm constantly focusing on for my personal growth and goals.
How are you allowing yourself to practice grace?
Really, every day is a new practice field. So knowing that when I mess up, because Lord knows I do all the time, to acknowledge it, apologize to my kids about it, and then move on. Don't dwell on it, but the next day do better. So just constantly improve it constantly and be in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Grace is a big thing, you guys, regardless of what you believe in. If you believe in nothing, you need to believe in yourself, right? Believe in yourself and give yourself the grace that you deserve to recognize that you're human and that it's only essential to screw up all the time in different ways, but you get better with it every day. And like Randy said, it's really important to acknowledge that. Your family, let's see, focusing on self-care and taking better care of yourself. You don't take care of yourself really well right now, so you want to be better at that. What do you think is holding you back from taking good care of yourself, Halia?
I was really focused on getting to gold, so that kind of took all of the time in my head too. But I want to, because now my new goal is going to be platinum. So I'm trying to like not let that take over completely, but still work on that and get there. So I think I'm going to have to start like time blocking, but for myself rather than for tasks for work. So I think I'm going to have to start doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Little chunks of things, you know, little reminders. Like I don't start my workday until usually 1 p.m. and I'm up to like 11 p.m. But the morning is for me. Like I barely answer people in the morning. It's like, well, usually things are not that much of an emergency. If they are, like I'll respond to them, but the mornings are for me. Like to just, whether it's me focusing on certain things for work, getting my day organized, going on a walk, going to the chiropractor, just taking care of me, like that's what I leave open for my mornings. And Sundays are like my day for me. That's like my one day I can say, all right, don't bother me. I'm not going to get back to you. But it's not easy when you get distracted. Even if like this is, you achieve that goal, you still got to keep practicing what got you to that, right? Or making little changes. Like maybe you got there and it wasn't in the best way, but you got there. It's like, all right, how can you change a little habit so next time you get there, but you get there more intentionally by doing things the right way? This is just like generally speaking in life. Because I know when I was team building, I can relate to Halea. I literally went from like silver to gold in a week. I mean, it was wild. I was on job boards that you can't even get on anymore, certain ones that you can't get on. And I was aggressive, but guess what? At the end of the week, I was burnt out. And I'm like, dang, I wanted that. I'm happy. It feels good, but now I feel like it's going to take me a little bit to get back into it. So it's just really balancing your time better. What else, guys? What are areas of personal growth are you focusing on? What areas do you want to focus on? Okay, we have time blocking, scheduling things, giving yourself and others grace. What about skills? Like, are there any skills that you want to work on? Maybe it's like a skill to be more of a confident speaker. Maybe it's practicing the $1 million script I have so that you guys can start to close more people when it comes to travel sales. Maybe it's you want to start team building and you don't know how, but you're going to make it a point to reach out to others that are doing it and have been successful at it to help guide you there. But what are you guys going to do? I need to hear from more of you because this is a big one. This is for you, not me.
I have
For sure.
really, go ahead.
Who was going to speak? I know Cindy was. Who else was going to speak? You guys could speak up.
So for me right now, my focus is team building, and what I'm doing to get better at that is focusing on trainings, watching YouTube videos on how to do it, and not just watching the trainings, but putting them into work. Like it's not just going to come without doing any of the work. So just making sure that I'm doing the work that it's needing and focusing on that and making sure that those tasks are getting done.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could tell that it's working because Randy's one of my mentees and she's one away from bronze, right? She went from, I don't know, I think I saw you like a week ago. You were close to getting executive, or maybe you were at executive. I don't remember, but she's one away from bronze, right? It's like these things are working because she's actively being proactive and intentional. You guys can watch trainings all day, but guess what? Are these trainings helping you and getting you to where you want to go, or are they just taking up time? Because if they're taking up time and they're making you busy, that's not doing you any good, right? Sarah once told me, are you being busy or are you being productive? And when she said that, it really hit. It's like, oh shit, I'm busy a lot of the time because I'm putting my time and effort in other places that is taking a lot longer than if I do it this way, right? Like, oh, I'm putting off doing it this way because whatever, but I actually should be doing it this way. And I need to work to get towards being consistent with that. Cindy, what were you going to say?
Since I've quit my job, of course, I'm older than all of you. I have really been intentional on what people I let into my life intentionally. There's so many negative people out there. And I think when we are around negative people all the time, that negativity kind of pushes off on us to some degree. And so that's been a real issue for me. I just kind of let people in my life regardless. But, you know, I've tried to surround myself at this point with positive people who's going to lift me up and, me do the same. But we can allow each other grace when we do fail, but it's not the end of the world or it's not a big drama fest.
Yeah.
Because we all know us women are full of drama.
Oh yeah. But guys are too, surprisingly.
Well, right. I just don't have a lot of those in my life. It's all the women. So that has been a really good learning lesson for me. And you would think at my age I would have already known that, but I didn't.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Cindy, because I think a lot of people are in that same boat. I think sometimes we keep people in our lives a lot longer than we should have because we're so focused on, oh, I've known this person for 10, 20, 30 years. Like, what's life without them? But life is actually better without them sometimes, even if it's your own blood. Like, I don't talk to my dad anymore. I stopped talking to him
Right.
over a year ago because there was a lot of hurt that I still am dealing with, and he's not changing as a person. So it's like, you don't get access to me. I'm putting in the work for myself. You're not. Like, I know you haven't changed because I hear the same things from the same people from time to time. So
Right.
just reserving your energy for people that actually deserve it and that uplift you and make you feel good.
Right.
Destiny, being more patient, learning how to be more confident and speak up. You have bad social anxiety. Hey, believe it or not, I've had social anxiety too in the past, but it's typically when I'm in the wrong environment. So tap into that a little bit more. Sometimes we're forced to be in certain environments, and maybe it's okay acknowledging like I have social anxiety, but that doesn't mean don't go out, right? What can you do to comfort yourself when you're feeling that way in certain situations? Sometimes for me, when I have like this rush of anxiety because of whatever was talked about or who I've been talking through, sometimes I'm overstimulated, right? It just means like I'm hearing a lot, I'm seeing a lot, I'm, just a lot is happening and I'm just instantly like in a panic. Well, I usually will walk away and I'll like I'll go on a little walk by myself or sit in the bathroom, depending on where I'm at, and just debrief for a second, like get it together so that I have the mental energy and capacity to like pick up where I left off. All right, so we have about 15 minutes left. I kind of want to get into gratitude now. So what are some ways that you guys can practice gratitude? Or how do you practice gratitude? There's no wrong answer.
So I know I talk about my kids a lot and I'm sorry, but something I do and I try and get them to do it too is we say this silly thing, how's your bucket? And your bucket can be full, it can be empty, it can be halfway. If it's full, I want to hear more about it. Like, okay, why is your bucket full? Well, I had a good day. Cool. Well, tell me what you're happy about. What was good today? So just focusing on the good.
I love that. It's easy to get an empty bucket, when you're allowing all these other people to take from your bucket and no one else is pouring into it. I think those are the moments you have to dig deeper, in the crappy situations. That's actually when you should be practicing a lot of gratitude. What else, guys? Maybe it's not how you're practicing it now, but how you would like to practice it. I'd like to hear those answers too. Anything? What about journaling? Journal 3 things that you're grateful for, whether I would do it when you wake up actually, because it sets the tone for your day. When I was listening to a podcast earlier today, he mentioned something about like think about like a lot of the times when we wake up, we start to think back to like what's something that, happened the day before that was crappy, or maybe someone that like you're not in a good situation with, right? We focus on the bad or the negative versus like, okay, I'm not going to focus on that right now. Today's a brand new day. What am I grateful for? I'm grateful that I get to share this opportunity with other people because I know how it's changed my life. I'm grateful for clear blue skies because in Chicago it's gloomy most of the time. Like, is it chilly right now? Yeah. Was I freezing yesterday, which is why I got this hoodie? Yeah, but guess what? Like, I don't get to see this every day in Chicago. And I feel good when I'm in this environment. And then the third one, I'm just grateful to have supportive people in my life, you know, where sometimes when I'm feeling down or need an ear to just offload, that I have people that give me the space that I need to do that. So what are 3 things, you guys, that you're grateful for today? Put it in the chat. If you don't know, come up with them or say them out loud.
Okay, I'll go. I am grateful for this group. I'm grateful for you, Nikki. This is like a therapy session. I love this so much. A little safe space
Yeah.
with you guys. So I'm grateful for this. I'm so glad that I made it. I'm looking forward to this next Wednesday. I'm grateful for my dog. You know, every time I am in a bad mood, I'm stressed out, I'm overwhelmed. I look at him and I'm just like, you know what? It's not too bad after all. Life is not bad. I have this guy here. He makes me happy. And I'm grateful for my partner. I'm grateful for Adam. And, you know, I just feel so blessed when I see the things around me. You know, I have a house, I have food on the table, I have my business. It's just, there's so many people out in the world that's just not privileged at all. They don't have the resources that we have. And so I'm grateful. I'm just really grateful for my life. So I'm gonna stop because I'm getting emotional.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Leigh. I really appreciate it. And I'm
Yeah.
glad you guys are showing up for yourselves today, right? This is for you. I'm here to help you guys with everything that I've essentially taught myself. Cindy, you're grateful for your husband, your grown kids who you have a great relationship with, and your 4 sweet grandbabies. I love that. Randy, your family, your health, and the growth in your business, both team building and travelers. Love that. Talia, I'm grateful for the freedom to work my business while at my full-time job, having a full team who are always there to support me. And for these meetings, they're so helpful and I always look forward to them. I love it. Lisa, my kids, this travel opportunity, people are so nice, and your kitties. Yay for kitties. George, God, your son, and your time, my time. Thank you, George. I appreciate that. Cheryl, you're grateful for waking up this morning and for the people in your life and having the ability to have my travel business. I love that. Anything else you guys want to add? For God giving you the strength and good health for the business to have that extra money. Absolutely. Destiny, you're grateful for your baby and boyfriend. God always. I love that. So before we wrap up, I want you guys to think about the future, right? The future is in when we get off this call. I want you to acknowledge, are you going to get no's in the future, in the next week, before next week? Yes. But remember, how are you going to talk to yourself after? How are you going to overcome that obstacle and not let that get you off track, right? One no should be your fuel to get the next yes. How do you celebrate like your wins though. What are these little wins? I know I've struggled in the past to celebrate myself. So how are you guys celebrating yourselves today? If at all.
Something we've kind of always done as a family is when we have these little wins, like when I hit bronze, we'll go to dinner to celebrate. When my husband achieves something with his work, we go to dinner and celebrate. So that's one thing that we do is we celebrate over dinner. When the girls are in sports and their team wins the championship, we go and we celebrate. So just acknowledging it as a whole family that's celebrating you that way, it lets you know that you have that support and that motivation as well.
I love that. Now, what if you don't have a family, you guys? Or you don't have a family that celebrates you? I've been there. I feel like that still at times. So I have to figure out how to celebrate my own wins.
I think that's when you should share. I think that's when you should share your wins with your people and let them celebrate you.
Hold on one second. They have the Navy base over here, so and some of the Marine bases. Yeah, absolutely, you guys. Don't forget that like the people here, the people in this community are here for you, right? We're not just here for ourselves, we're here for each other. That's what I love so much about this travel community. I found more of myself because I've surrounded myself and I've opened myself up to other people around me, like my agents, right? Or other people in my leadership team. You know, I like reading the travel knowledge wall from time to time and just seeing, you know, how others support each other because that's important. And some of us don't get that in our lives. You know, we could be the best people in the world and we don't have that close by. I don't really feel that way in Chicago, which is why I like traveling a lot. So I guess something that has helped me celebrate my milestones, especially when I don't have a lot of money and I can't even, in the past, when I didn't have a lot of money and I couldn't even afford to go to dinner, right? It's, you know, giving yourself a little time to do something that like makes you feel good, that maybe is priceless. Like maybe you sign one new agent on and that's a huge win for you because you have been working so hard to get it, right? And that one agent gets you closer to the next level, right? How do you celebrate that win? Like you don't need to tell other people about it, right? You can, that's great, but I want you guys to really focus on like practicing your own milestones and not relying on others around you to practice them, because we don't need to voice every accomplishment. That's little, right? There's big wins and then there's little wins. And I think I really want you guys to focus on these little wins this week because I want to talk about them next week. I want to talk about things that you felt good about that you didn't share with others, right? Because we don't need to share everything with others. And I know in the past I've been guilty where I'm like, if I don't share it, then, you know, it doesn't matter. No, it does. You have to acknowledge it. And that's also why journaling is good. That's also why practicing gratitude is good because it allows you to have the space to do that. A recent example is before I left for my trip, I told myself that I wasn't allowed to get my nails done until I closed one of my deals that I was working on. Because I'm like, well, I need this money because I just put it down like $3,000 in a, you know, car payment, and I can't justify getting my nails done if I need that money for other things. But I will allow myself to do something like that for myself once I achieve X, right? And I achieved X. And then when I got to San Diego, luckily I met up with my old roommate and she's a nail tech. I still paid her out, but she did my nails. right? So that's a little win that allows me to like celebrate myself and celebrate whatever that accomplishment was for me. And no one even knows, right? No one knows the meaning behind these nails right now, but I do, and that's all that matters. So any other ways that you guys want to talk about before we close? Taking yourself out to dinner, love it, Lisa. Buy something for yourself. By myself or with my boyfriend, he's your biggest supporter.
For my little wins, I go to a private space and I jump up and down in a circle.
I love that. I love that so much. You guys, it honestly, doing stuff like that, something physical, even if it's like patting yourself on the back. I do that all the time. I'll walk around and when I close a sale, I'll be like, fuck yes, Nikki, good job. Because you have to celebrate you. And it feels weird in the beginning. And I'm like, wow, if someone was only watching me, they think I'm freaking crazy. But it hypes me up and it makes me feel good. And it's gotten me to where I'm at now. So I'm doing something right. Cindy,
Oh, I forgot to mention, I also squeal like a little girl.
I
yes.
love that.
Just like that.
That's awesome. Cindy, you celebrate me coming into your life daily. I love it. You've always shown me and told me how much you appreciate me amongst a handful of other agents and non-agents. So thank you guys for showing your appreciation. It means more than you know. All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Wednesday. I will be available for business hours this evening. That is on the calendar, like the information is on Travel Knowledge because this is for Travel Knowledge Leadership. If you guys don't know what business hours is, it's essentially an hour long where you can ask me anything, right? You can ask me anything related to your business. Maybe it's something that we talked about today, but it essentially is a space that'll allow you to like ask questions that maybe you haven't had an opportunity to ask. Maybe you're working on a quote or you have a consultation call coming up or a proposal and you need some guidance or assistance. Really, it's just like an open door to help you and your growth. So definitely show up. Destiny, yeah, absolutely. I'll throw my Facebook on here for you guys and use my Facebook as inspo, right? It's okay to copy things. I don't care. We all have different friends. So copy things, copy patterns, right? But yeah, hope you all have a great day. And I will see you guys next Wednesday for those that are able to make it. And maybe I'll see some of you guys tonight. So make it a great rest of the week and I'll talk to you later. Bye.